We've been talking about the concept of being created in the image and the likeness of God, with the implications that God has endowed us with certain unique characteristics in a finite way, which he also possesses infinitely, but the rest of his creation do not have. These are the abilities of mind, the ability to think, to reason, to remember, the ability of heart or will, the place where we originate our own actions and we make choices, and then the incredible ability of emotion, the ability to experience what our heart and our mind is filled with. Now, today I'd like to talk about how our mind and our will and our emotions interact together by using this rudimentary sketch of a truck pulling a heavy load. The steering wheel represents our will, the truck or power unit represents our mind, and then the load at the back, our emotions. Now, this is how we were designed to live. With our will, we determine what our mind will be filled with, and then our emotions follow. We don't live from our emotions, we live from our mind and the choices we make. In Galatians 5 verse 22, it talks of the fruit of the Spirit, which incidentally is a summary of the character of Christ. It says the fruit of the Spirit is love, and then the aspects of love such as joy, peace, long-suffering, kindness, goodness, faithfulness, and so on. Now, all of those characteristics are attitudes of the heart and not of the emotions. Love, for example, is primarily a choice and not a feeling. Things such as joy or happiness or unhappiness start with our choices and not our feelings. Patience is said to be a virtue. Why? Because patience is a choice and not a feeling. We don't feel grateful, we choose to be grateful, and so on. Now, when we allow our emotions to become so heavily loaded that they dictate our course of our life, they influence our choices and the way we think, then that's like a 10-ton truck driving down the motorway at high speed backwards, which is a very dangerous way to live and a dangerous way to drive. Now, for example, you might wake up in the morning and you don't feel like worshiping God. And if you allow that to affect your choices and the way you think, that's the wrong way to live. What you need to do, no matter how you feel, you choose to worship God. You choose to fill your mind with thoughts of God, the nature of God, the character of God, the goodness of God, the way he's been faithful to you, the things you can be thankful for, and you've just taken authority over your emotions. You've lived the right way around, and very soon your emotions will be at peace and in a place of worship, because that's the way you were designed to live. Or you might be hurt and offended by someone. Instead of allowing that to affect your emotions and for bitterness and resentment to keep you in bondage, you choose to forgive, because that's where virtue lies. You choose to forgive, and then it releases the healing to your emotions. If you wait until you feel like forgiving somebody, you're going to wait a long time. Now, I'm not saying that by simple power of our will and mental strength we can live right. We need the enabling grace and the power of God to do so. But that's exactly the point. Jesus came to restore our design. The imprint and the image of God on us was never destroyed or erased by sin, only hidden and covered up like a lost coin. Jesus came to find us and redeem us and restore our design. He came to give us a new heart, to renew our minds, to restore us, to empower our will, to remove the guilt and the shame from our lives. Now, the grace of God is like the power steering and the power brakes on a unit like this. You don't need a 10-ton arm to turn 10 tons around the corner. All you need to do is activate the steering wheel, and then the power mechanism kicks into operation. You don't need to drag a 10-ton leg on the ground in order to stop this load. All you need to do is put your foot on the brake pedal, and then the brakes are activated. That's how the grace of God works. We do the little, God does the much. We show our intention to choose the right thing, and God comes to reinforce our will and to strengthen us. In James 4 verse 6, it says, God gives more grace. He resists the proud, but gives grace to the humble. When we humble ourselves by making the right choices, by trying to avoid temptation, by resisting temptation, then the grace of God comes because we're acknowledging our need of God. Now in Philippians 2 verse 13, it also says that God works in us both to will and to do his good pleasure. So God even helps us to do the right thing, to make the right choices. He's there with us. He helps us. He influences us. He renews our mind. So can I encourage you as a sign off for today to relate to God out of relationship and fellowship with him. Allow him to influence you. And let's not respond to him out of religious ritual, but let's turn our hearts towards him. Let's activate the steering wheel, put on the brakes if we need to, and activate and release the grace of God. May you experience abundant grace today. Have a wonderful one. Until next time, God bless you.